Hey there, Dave Gardner from Basic Lacrosse and LacrosseCommandments.com here. Just going through some of the ideas of things you can do to become more familiar with your stick. Now, one of the things you want to do, and this is one of the Lacrosse Commandments, is the idea of listen and talk to your stick. And I'm not talking and telling you to hear, to be crazy or make it look like someone else thinks you're crazy. It's the idea of listen to your stick, talk to your stick. Listen, talk, listen, talk. Your cradling many times should be really close. If you're running down like crazy and you're doing a lot of this motion, you leave a lot of room for that stick to be checked. The closer it is, the better it's going to be. Now, I understand normal running motion. If you're going to run, you're not going to typically run like this when you're doing a full speed sprint. You're going to get a lot more motion in there. So you might be running even like this as you go through. You don't want to run like this as you go through. Number one, the ball's going to easily just pop out just from sliding back and forth, as you can see it moving around in there. You want to be able to cradle, but don't carry it like a suitcase. I'm going to leave a lot of room. If I turn around, you can see how much room is back there for a back check or for a trailing defenseman just to get the stick and then pop it up. Just a little bit of the nudge is going to get that stick to pop, or get the ball to pop up. So you want to become as familiar with your stick as you can. Now, that doesn't mean you should be, going like this back and forth in the middle of the game, because as you can see, the ball pops out. That's what we know as what we call the phantom check in the game of lacrosse. Yeah, maybe it throws off the defenseman a little bit. Maybe it looks like it's intimidating. I actually fed on it. Okay, I loved it. I played defense. I played long stick midi, and I would just wait and I would time the checks, and I would throw one simple poke check. So as they're flipping their stick all around, I had this whole space to hit. I could hit down here. I could hit here. I could hit here. I could come down this way. I could lift their bottom hand. There was a lot that I could do in that game. Now, if you're playing the girls' game, of course, you got to hit on the head of the stick, so it's a little limited. But if you're hanging it out over here and doing these fancy tricks, bringing it up, bringing it down, a lot of times you leave a lot to be open for checks. So we want to become familiar. Again, listen, talk, listen and talk, listen. So talk, listen, 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 talk, listen. So again, you want to become familiar with your stick. Now, I'm not saying don't go around and cradle and try different things to become familiar with your stick, but you want to stick to the basics, because again, the coach wants to see that you have good skills and good strategies, and that you have the basic core knowledge of the game to know how to cradle the ball. Now, cradling, if we look up close here, basically I don't want to have my hand in my palm. I'm not going to run around like this. I don't have much motion here. It's just going to do a lot of this. You've probably seen people who run down the field cradling like this, especially in the early phases of the game. You basically want to have it in your fingertips, okay? And you wrap your fingers around it so that my fingers can move and my wrist can move at the same time. So I have more motion in that idea. And a lot of kids, if you're just starting out, or if you're a coach helping players that are just starting out, you want to get their fingertips on the stick, okay? So again, fingertips wrapped around, and the fingertips can really just roll that ball back and forth inside the stick without much other motion. Okay, if I'm just holding my stick here just as a balance but not really gripping it, all the motion is going to come from here. This is going to provide some, but notice my bottom hand down here isn't moving. It's really just holding the stick in place. It's my other hand that's doing most of the work. Okay, if I flip it like this, then yeah, I do have to grip and flip with this hand. Kind of like if you're just flipping something over, pretend you're on, your bicycle and you're grabbing the handlebars and you're flipping some way that way as well. So you do have to become familiar using both hands, but the basic cradle, of course, is going to be one of the things that's going to lead you to become a better player. You have to stick to the basics of the cradle. Again, I'm not saying don't try to fake people out and get a lot of moves in there, but the more you do, the more you increase the ball flying out or getting checked, and then looking like a fool if you don't actually go after the ball once that happens. Okay, that's another key thing that you want to do, is go after the ball always, regardless of where it is. A lot of times you see kids standing thinking, oh, well, someone else is going to get it. Go get the ball. Okay, you've got to go after the ball and get low when you get the ball. Otherwise, it's going to drive your coach crazy. So hopefully you've enjoyed this and got some benefit out of listening and talking to your stick and what that really means from the Commandments of Lacrosse. Thanks.